Hello everybody, good now wherever you are. Today, if you haven't noticed, I've gotten a new background, something prettier for you guys to look at. And the Asus branding is actually kind of on point because what I have here today is my very own Tough A16 that I use for everything personal. Now, the reason I brought it here for you guys today, as you could probably see by this massive dent here, is because I've accidentally dropped it and broken the screen. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking it apart and then we're going to be replacing the screen with a new one. So I'm not actually going to be doing anything willy-nilly because this is very expensive and it's my personal thing. So I'm going to follow along with the official service guide on my other phone here, the one that isn't recording. So right off the bat, what we got to do is remove the bottom case and pry it off. Here's the bottom. There's not much special about it. Just standard information, specs and whatnot, model numbers, fan grills, speaker holes, and the screws down here, which I picked too big of a screwdriver for. There we go. You're insane. You're in pain. I can tell by what you're saying. I'm Nightmare Freddy. Alright, so now that that's done, it's kind of just, all that's left is to just pry it open. Carefully, of course. Just like that. We got an edge going. And then we'll take it off like that. Set the panel aside, we don't need that anymore. Now, let's see what's next. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna need to push off some kind of iron sheet from the battery connector, and then we're gonna have to remove the connector itself. Okay. I would like to keep this, this tape. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Okay. So generally what's recommended is to use a guitar pick or something small like that. To just kind of get in there and push off the iron plate in a way that doesn't short circuit the battery. But I don't happen to have one of those nearby. Thankfully, as it so happens, I used to play the clarinet. So we can use a reed, or maybe not, it might be too thin. Okay, so it's chipping the reed. That's not good, but looks like the thick end is thin enough to just kind of slip out there. So we're going to leave that be. Next is to disconnect this cable here, if I'm not obstructing that too much. And we're going to have to take out the red side first. So like a car, you put negative then positive on first. Similarly, you take off positive then negative first. So NPPN, let's take it off. No, it's still not going to work. Okay, so the thick side of the reed is not going to work, unfortunately. I do have here a charcoal pencil. I believe this is charcoal. We're about to find out the hard way. Get that out of there. I guess that is charcoal. Okay. I should mention this, don't do what I just did at home. That is not a good idea. The battery is disconnected, so we can ideally get to work. So what I'm looking for is a display cable to find and then disconnect. This ribbon right here, it goes all the way around the fan, over the exhaust, and into the lid by the looks of it. So this is likely our display cable here. So then what we gotta do is there's a little piece of plastic under ribbon, or over ribbon cables rather, that helps keep them in place. I shouldn't have cut my nails, damn it. That little bit of wood in there, that's not good actually. So to keep ribbon cables in place, there's a little lock that you have to lift up and put down respectively, and it's currently not budging for me. Now, since we disconnected the battery, it should logically follow that it's safe to use a metallic tool like a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar, but I still don't want to risk that. This blade is corroded enough to the point where it should be fine. There it is, it lifted up. Okay, so then we take our ribbon, which is electrically taped at, okay, this may be a little bit of an issue. Okay, so looking at the panel here, it looks like, according to the manual, we're gonna have to take out 2 pieces of cosmetic mylar and remove a set of screws. Okay, so I think actually the way to go is I'm gonna clip this back together first of all, and we're gonna go back down to the bottom here, and we're gonna take out the hinges, because that will make my life a whole lot easier. So in the manual for removing the panel, it says I need to take out 6 screws, but there were only 4, 2 of each here. And, well, as far as I'm aware, oh, that was enough, I guess. But, yeah, we don't need this main board anymore. I'll toss that aside for now. Now we can try to get at what I'm guessing are the screws down here. I'm really trying not to cut myself here because this is a fairly sharp blade, even when the very tip is quite dulled. Now we remove these 2 screws here. So from, for steps 3.1 to 3.3, as I'll put in the video in editing, it says start from the middle area of each side of the bezel, using the forefinger to hold the outer edge firmly and the thumb flipping the bezel inner edge outward to release the hooks as indicated in the diagram shown. So we were supposed to do that from this side, then on top, and then 3.4 we're supposed to do it in a special way on the bottom. But the laptop shown in the example, its bezel is a lot thicker, and I don't really know what to do about that one, because this is for the tough A16, and the thin bezels of the A16, I think they're shown here. But maybe if we cheat a little bit, we should be able to, at the very least, get the bezel. Obviously, I am putting minimal effort and kind of like increasing it as I need to, bit by bit, to get it off. Because, well, as you can see, to get that, what is it, 90% screen to body ratio, they had to make some compromises. This feels like a guitar string, frankly. I think a guitar string is actually stronger than this, the nylon ones. Obviously, I don't really plan on reselling this thing for the full $1,600 I paid for it, so it doesn't really matter if the new screen goes in well or not. It just needs to not be broken. So essentially the gist of what it says for 5.4 is be careful, because there's a mylar, as they call it, that belongs to the screen, and you're supposed to keep that separate from, oh yeah, separate from the adhesive there. Now it says to do this with a plastic blade, but I do not have one. Okay, so it looks like there's adhesive there. So if I can, oops, it's not a noise I want to hear. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so there's tape here. Where else is there tape? Okay. I think I've got it. So the short of it is, on top of the usual adhesive, there's a little piece of glue or tape, or mylar as they call it, holding the panel itself in place. And what we're essentially supposed to do is go through this with a plastic blade, keeping the mylar and the plastic piece itself separate. So keeping the mylar down while going through on top, if that makes sense. So I think I've got an example here for you. So I don't know if this is visible. Let me get a look at that. There's this piece of tape right here. We're supposed to go through like this, keeping this down and taking this off in the process. And that would also explain why they wanted to use a plastic blade, because a metal blade is likely ruining the little adhesive they got there. But yeah, as I said, I don't have any plastic blades with me, so this unfortunately will have to do. Oh, okay. That was a little stressful. Yeah. So as I've feared, some of the adhesive stuck to the bezel. But we should just be able to cut it off here. Get it down. Should just be able to. Oh, it's not good. Some of it got into the blade. Yeah, just okay. So we were unfortunately not able to get all of it just right. And as you can see on the bottom layer, it's done very roughly. Okay, so the first step now is to remove the 6 screws that were talked about earlier. Okay, we're supposed to pull out the LCD adhesive, but the problem is I can't reach down there. Actually, I know someone who can. Hold on. Alright, this should help. What, not even tweezers? Bruh. What if I pick it off a little bit? Surely this will work. There we go, I got a grip. No. There we go. I really don't want to break this, because that would be devastating. There we go. You make it too easy, Jesus. You make it too easy. Oi, блядь. I don't need no tweezers. Yeah, you make it too easy. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Jesus Christ. How much adhesive is in here? Well, it feels like it's coming loose now. I am leaning back in my chair. It is stretched out over 1 meter long. Okay, we're still going. And it's out. So this is the adhesive in case you guys wanted to see it. And now we have to do that again. Alright, so after a hearty meal and an alcoholic beverage, because we all know alcohol increases cognitive ability, we are back here. So I think what I was going to do was I was going to pull out this bit of adhesive right here. And by the looks of it, you guys didn't get to see me pull out the first one. So I will try and give you the opportunity to see the second one. So we're going to take our tweezers. I'm just going to get in there. And we're going to hope for the best, really. Now the repair guide suggests not pulling upwards on it higher than 30 degrees, I believe. But yeah, we are slowly but surely getting it out of there. Okay, I found a grip. Uh-oh. That is not good. Okay, fortunately, it seems as though I've pulled out just enough to continue here. Oh, a good snap, I guess. And there we go. That is our second bit of adhesive. So good, we got that off. Okay, next is flip up the panel and disconnect the EDP cable. Okay, so we do a little 1-2 here. That should just get up like that. And this is actually where they got the book part from Notebook Computer from. Which one's the EDP cable? It would follow that this one is the EDP. Let's try to get this tape off. Carefully. Am I peeling off the freaking ribbon? There's a little layer of other tape here. And that contains, I guess, the part numbers for the DisplayPort cable. See, I think I'm doing something wrong here. No, the manual shows it exactly like that. Yeah, that's a naked ribbon if I've ever seen one. Pop up the lid. Hold on. Is this a flex cable? Or am I about to break something here? Okay, I was about to break something there. Good to know. And there's the screen out. I will order a new panel and I will get back when it arrives. It's finally here. The new screen. And by the looks of it, it already comes with pre-installed dirt. That's fun. So let's just put that there. And we will plug our, secure that in place right there. And we'll put this tape back on, why not? Before we even do anything, I think what I want to do is kind of power it on, make sure that this screen, well, first of all, that it's the right screen and that it works. So that this whole thing wouldn't have been for nothing. So we're gonna kind of set that in there. We don't need the bezel for the moment, or the hinges or anything like that. I sense, what do I sense? No, I actually sense nothing because, hold up. Because this is how you're supposed to, well, actually you're supposed to do it like this. This is very cursed, and I don't like it, but it's something I will have to live with. And what we're gonna do is we're going to plug the battery back in, NPPN. We're gonna grab our reed, push the lock back in. Then we're gonna grab this piece to cover the ambient light sensor. I'm so freaking scared right now. And then we're gonna give it the jump start. Battery light is on. It's powering on. It's not turning on. The screen, I mean. What if I try it again? So what it would normally do is sometimes it would, wait a minute. Oh my fucking god, it works! What the fuck? Okay. I was wrong. Holy shit. Will it boot? Well, the screen doesn't really kind of play a role in booting, but that is incredible. Yeah, low battery, 13%, I figured. I think all that looks kind of off is the coloring. Like, it's ever so slightly different than usual. But honestly, I really couldn't care less. Like, the difference is just negligible. Display and monitor, let's see here. Yeah, 1920 by 1200, 165 hertz. Holy Jesus, I cannot believe that worked. Well, I'm glad it's all working fine. Okay, back around you go. So what the manual essentially says is put on 2 strips of long adhesive tape that are longer than this and kind of don't go over a line. So basically put it towards the end like the ones that I took off, and kind of just don't put it on the hinge level, which is pretty sound advice. This might possibly be an irreversible modification, and I may have screwed it up already. I mean, if worse does come to worst, I could just do what I did the last time and kind of rip and tear at the new screen if I need to replace it. Okay, so this is either some really shitty adhesive or I'm a really shitty repairman, which honestly I think it's a little bit of both. Regardless, I will now put this panel back on. That is looking a lot better, frankly, without the keyboard stains. Oh well. I guess I'm about to become Hassan here, so... Kaya, place! I really hope I didn't break anything important. That would suck. Yay, there it is. Never have I been so happy to see the Asus logo. So over here on the top corner, it's a little brighter there. Now I'm not too worried about that right now, because the actual thing itself is fine, but that could be telltale sign of more trouble down the line. So that was it for today's video. If you like what you saw, please make sure to like and subscribe. Dislike the video if you dislike, leave a comment, share your feedback. And this was Red Ocelot, repairing my screen, and I'm out of here.